Hello, my name is Eubanks. I'm Miss Black Florida, co-chair of the United Nations Department of Global Communications Youth Representative Steering Committee, and the founder of CairoSpeaks, CairoWrites. To the Passionistas project, I shared this as a private message, but I really want to thank you again for allowing me to share my story and for creating this platform for others to also share their message. I'm grateful to be calling in from Sao Paulo, Brazil, so I apologize if I go in and out, but here's my story as to how I learned how to value my work. It was 2020. I had recently returned back to the United States from Tamil Nadu, South India. Fresh out of college and eager to use my international studies degree to continue my passion for education as a tool for cultural exchange, I thought it was destiny when I had been accepted as a grant recipient to teach formerly Dalit or children who had been labeled as untouchables within the Indian social caste system. It was definitely a challenge that I jumped into where on my first day in the country, I was tasked with designing curriculum for high school students in English literature that would help them prepare for their Indian state board exams. Not just to complete their exams, but to do competitively well. Prior to that, I had never created curriculum for students, and here I was preparing to teach bright, ambitious, and capable students every single day. Without a doubt, I was nervous to do well, but I was more determined to make a lasting impression on my new students that far outweighed that little voice in my head, questioning if I was ready to take on this task. You see, at the time, I was still reeling from the fact that I hadn't quite lived up to all of the goals that I had set out to accomplish when I was a freshman in college. I'd come into my freshman year orientation confident in my abilities to excel academically and graduate magna cum laude, attend semester at sea as a study abroad program, and have at least a 3.8 GPA, among other achievements that I had written out on my to-do list. Yes, I did end up attending semester at sea with an almost full ride scholarship. I was active on different boards, student boards, created initiatives on my campus, and had successfully defended my honors thesis. But I found out on my graduation day that my GPA was not a 3.7 as I had thought throughout my last semester in college and had seen on my college transcripts, but technically a 3.6958. As my college rounded to the 10,000, making me ineligible to graduate magna cum laude. And even though I graduated cum laude and with honors and distinction, for me, I felt that I had failed my freshman year self. These self-doubts were still in my head as I entered the program in India. Was I even good enough to be an international grant teacher? Will I fall short of my ambitions here too? I tried to push these thoughts away. After all, I was already in the country. And if I had made it this far, I could push myself to create classes for my students. And so I leapt feet first into this opportunity. And it was truly a life-changing experience as I did my best to infuse cultural exchange and integrate conversations on prejudice, discrimination, and interesting topics like differences in naming traditions and marriage rights into our curriculum. My focus was not on just having my students memorize and regurgitate information, but to learn their stories and to integrate their personal narratives into their coursework. I can't begin to tell you how rewarding it was to see my students come to life in class and get engaged in the material in ways that they shared they had never done before. And after an incredible 6 months in India, I came back to the United States, excited to see how I could create similar leadership development programs with a common component of storytelling. So when New Leaders Council Broward chapter invited me to come back after graduating through their National Fellowship Program to teach a workshop for young professionals and entrepreneurs on storytelling with an advocacy angle, I immediately thought of my students back in South India and created a seminar called Storytelling with a Purpose. The program coordinators shared how effective and engaging the workshop was and gave me an open invitation to come back for future fellowship cohorts to present again. Excited, I shared this news with my college's writing studio director, who immediately told me that she would like to contract me to do this program for their regional graduate school exploration program. And then she asked me one of the most life-changing questions I had ever been asked. How much do you charge? Shocks. I sat there on the telephone and in silence. Charge? I'd never once charged for the programs I created. When I was in India, I was there as a grant recipient and volunteer international teacher. And for New Leaders Council, presentations and workshop design were done voluntarily. All of the community programs I had created since returning from India had been done from the heart, with no expectation of receiving anything in exchange. I realized something in that moment. I had never placed a value on original work that I had created. Sure, at 25, I had already been a speaker for over a decade, but it was the first time that I was paid to present a workshop and program that I designed myself. But this question and the opportunity to actually place a quantifiable amount on the hard work put into designing and presenting my programs opened up a new level of confidence for me. Because I believe that true confidence comes from your ability to not only recognize that you're capable of creating, inventing, and innovating products and services, but being able to recognize that what you create out of nothing has value. And to recognize that by creating something that was once only in your head and bringing it to life, you are the one who can dictate its worth. Since launching my business, CairoSpeaks, CairoWrites LLC, and having speaking engagements as the keynote speaker for cities, national organizations, and even hosting for a United Nations agency, I have been able to see firsthand how organizations value what I create. And because I see myself as a vessel whose purpose is to pour into others, I have actually now created international certificate programs for students like Storytelling with a Purpose to help teens see the value in their stories and to recognize how their individual contributions help to create a global impact. This is because the next level of confidence and the power of confidence is the ability to be a light that encourages others to see the light that shines so brightly within them.